Alright, it's going to be a late night tonight. The reason is I'm going to make yogurt. Here I'm using a half gallon of whole milk. You can use skim milk, that'll make a little bit lighter yogurt, or you can add a little cream in, which will give you a little thicker product. We're going to warm that milk up to just under 200 degrees. When it starts to bubble around the edge, we'll know that we can turn the heat off and let it cool a little bit. I would recommend getting a really good thermometer. This is a dairy thermometer, and that'll help you get a really accurate reading on the temperature. So we're going to stir that occasionally, let the temperature get up to just under 200 degrees. You'll be able to see the bubbles around the edge. And I'm hurrying it up a little bit here. I'm going to cool it down in the same water bath that I use to keep the yogurt warm. And I like to keep the jars up off the bottom of the water bath, so I'm simply using these rings to do that. Once that's cooled down to about 120, 110 to 120 degrees, then it's time to add our culture. And I'm using a really good Stonyfield yogurt that has a bunch of different good bacteria in it to get that culture started. I was able to keep a culture going for about 8 months from about March this year, but then I didn't make it in time and that yogurt got bad, so. I find it's easier to stir in the culture in a smaller container rather than the big saucepan. So I poured a little bit off and I'm going to whisk that in, get it really well blended, and then pour it back into the other container. Now if you have a nice steady hand, you can just pour that into your quart jars and fill them almost to the top. Now don't get too hasty like I did and make a mess all over the countertop. Alright, those are cleaned up and they're ready to go into the water bath to stay at about 110 to 120 degrees for 6 or 7 hours. Now the nice thing about the hot plate is you can set the time and you can set the temperature and it just holds that temperature. Alright, hold everything. You don't have a hot plate? Well, the good news is you don't have to have a hot plate to make yogurt. Basically, anything that will keep the yogurt at around 120 degrees will work. You can use a crock pot with the heat set on low in a water bath, or you could place your yogurt in a quiet place like your oven with just the bulb on to keep a little bit of warmth in there. I think the best thing is to experiment with what you have. Once that milk has cultured for about 6 or 7 hours, it starts to get a little solid. We're going to put it in the refrigerator overnight and it's going to continue to solidify a little bit. And in the morning, we'll have a nice yogurt to use for breakfast. We're going to stir it up and it's all set for our yogurt and granola fruit breakfast, or your smoothie, or whatever yogurty type dessert or food that you want to use it for. There's nothing quite like having as much yogurt as you want and making it at home. Okay, thanks for watching this recipe on making homemade yogurt, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you try it, I'd like to know how it comes out. And if you have any yogurt recipes to share, please do so down in the comments below. We'll see you next time.